So welcome news for the BJP as far as the Modi case is concerned. The lower court in Gujarat basically saying that the SIT report closure was accepted, the plea of Zakia Jafri was rejected. But then there is this probe announced by the centre on the so-called SNOOPGATE inquiry. The BJP says that that is rubbish. It is not a genuine probe by any means. We are going to be looking at this. Joining us, Piyush Goyal, Rajya Sabha MP of the BJP, Shakti Singh Goyal, senior leader of the Congress party, Javed Anand, member of the Citizens for Peace and Justice, Zafar Sareshwala, businessman from Ahmedabad. But first, let me just go across to Piyush Goyal. Piyush, let's just look at what happened in court today as far as the plea of Zakia Jafri was concerned. Now, there are a lot of people who would say that despite the clean chit for Narendra Modi, there are question marks on whether those words clean chit can actually be used. Because if you look at the SIT report, there is a lot over there which detractors of Mr. Modi would feel still must be investigated.
Vishnu, I'm surprised you are still harping on the same issue. Very clearly the closure report says the SIT is of the view that the offences under the aforesaid sections of law are not made out against Shri Narendra Modi. I mean, you can keep harping on it till the cows come home, but the fact of life is the truth has prevailed. We have been saying this for the last 11 years. The Congress government has tried at every step, as Mr. Jaitley just said, they have tried to nail Mr. Modi in a series of possible issues that they could try and drum up. They have fabricated evidence. Their leaders have been involved in cooking up affidavits, in probably trying to make witnesses change their statements to suit their convenience. I don't know with what incentive. They have tried everything under the book, but the truth has prevailed. They are most welcome to go to appeal. Nobody denies them the right. But I think it's high time that news journalists and channels started taking an unbiased view.
No, but why? No, but without getting into the bias or the unbiased perspective of this, Piyush, let's just look at the order. What you're saying is, you've read out a part of the order, but if you look at today's order in three parts, let me make my point. Today's order says no conspiracy in requisitioning the army. It's a clean chit for the Modi government. But if you look at the SIT report itself, not its conclusions, but the report, it says that while the army was brought out on the 27th, while was asked to come on the 27th of February, its deployment could only take place in the afternoon of the 1st of March. The SIT reports the slackness in deploying the army. So again, question marks can be raised. That's one point. The other point, today's report says no evidence to suggest that dead bodies were paraded. Fair enough. But what the SIT report says is that the bodies of 54 victims were handed over to VHP leaders Jaideep Patel and Hasmukh Patel, and therefore question marks can be raised over there as well. So my question to you is, isn't there enough in the SIT report for some people to say that there is still ground for investigation?
Well, I've read the whole SIT report. It very clearly says that the army was, due to Operation Parakram at the Rajasthan border, the government was immediate in its response. They flagged off the issue to Delhi. The Honorable Defence Minister himself flew down to Gandhinagar to take stock of the situation.
Absolutely. It was deployment of the army once they reached the ground. It was not actually bringing the army to the area.
The police was deployed along with them. Vehicles were given to them. Mobile phones were given to them. They were on the streets on the 28th. That's the reality. We can look back into history. We can go back into the dates at that point of time.
Okay, secondly, which the SIT has done.
We have the NHRC report also which has said this.
Yes.
That the army was deployed without delay. Thirdly, curfew was imposed. The police was given shoot at sight orders on day one, on the 27th itself. So I have so many documents here with me. I can read out 100 things.
No, we've all got documents and we are looking at different parts possibly of the SIT report. But I take your point. Piyush, I take your point.
The bottom line is that they have said.
I take your point.
The bottom line is that the court has said the SIT closure report is final. They do not find any reason to interfere in it.
Okay. Let me go across to Mr. Goyal. Mr. Goyal, the BJP believes that there has been propaganda in the past as far as Narendra Modi is concerned, that once and for all, there is a particular order from a court, let that be respected, let the ghosts of the past once and for all disappear, let Mr. Modi contest these elections going forward without any of this hanging behind him? Or do you believe that what the BJP says isn't acceptable?
Look, Vishnu, two things. One is that the report which was prepared by SIT and the findings were also given by SIT and it was submitted before the Supreme Court. Now, 3 judges of the Supreme Court went through the report and findings. And the version of the Supreme Court was that the findings and the report, that doesn't match. And that is why the report was given to amicus curiae, who is enjoying a very good reputation. He studied the report, he came to Gujarat and finally he gave the report, and the amicus report says that there is evidence on which the further investigation, prosecutions and charge sheet can be filed. So there is 2 different things. For the work of SIT, we doubted because the team which was selected by Mr. Raghavan, there was a tinted officers, and finally Supreme Court had to remove them also. The one more thing is, today Mr. Piyush Goyal is saying that okay, trial court's order is there, this is a clean cheat, everything is fine. Now look at the double standard of BJP. Just few weeks back, one minister of Modi government convicted by trial court, we said that he is now convicted, but they say that no, the right to appeal is pending. So if there is an order of conviction against my minister, then also
anybody the right to appeal, right? They've not denied any. In fact, just now
here they are saying that
now
clean
Piyush
cheat
said that anybody has the right to appeal. So he cannot. He's
yes, Vishnu.
Yes,
Vishnu.
Yes.
Well, let me just give me 1 minute.
Yes.
What I am saying is that in case of his minister, when there is an order of conviction, they said this is not conviction. Here the report of SIT is accepted and BJP is celebrating that this is a clean cheat, final order. Like that they are celebrating firecrackers and everything. So the double standard. When the minister is convicted, they said no, this is not final.
All right, let me go across to Javed Anand. Let me go across to Javed Anand. I'll come back to you.
May I just read out from the report regarding the dead bodies, since you flagged off that issue?
Yeah, go ahead.
The report, SIT report's findings are as follows. SIT has concluded that the decision was taken.
Further thing. Don't go on a findings. Findings were not accepted.
Can he stop interrupting, please? SIT has concluded that the decision was taken with a view that the train was heading towards Ahmedabad. Therefore, the relatives of the deceased would be residents of Ahmedabad and nearby areas, and it would be easy for them to collect the bodies. The dead bodies were not paraded as alleged. Therefore, the allegation is not established. And for your kind information,
Piyush, there is another part
the observations
of the SIT report which says M.L. Nalvaya, executive magistrate of Godhra at that time, has testified before the SIT that the bodies of 54 victims were handed over to VHP leaders Jaideep Patel and Hasmukh Patel. Right?
Yes. Well, I am reading out from the SIT report.
I know you're reading out, but another part of the SIT report, I've got points with me over here, also says that. So, while what you're saying, the collector has said, we don't question the court. And the court has said that these bodies were not paraded. So, I'm not questioning that point at all. I'm merely saying that there are other parts of the report which seem to indicate that there is more to be probed. It's a limited point.
There was a dastardly and very ghastly killing of those 58 car sevaks by burning them in a train. Mr. Shankar Gohel and all their Congress leaders have to date not raised
what
their
your
voice
chief minister was doing. It was his duty to protect car sevaks.
Thing that happened to those 58
Why don't you accept that?
And they have no sympathy for the fact that they were VHP car sevaks.
Let me tell him on this.
VHP very solemnly took those bodies. I hope they had some sympathy for that dastardly act that was carried out over there.
Mr. Goyal, answer that point.
Yes, the 2 things. One is that first part is the collector Godhra has said, don't take these dead bodies together to Ahmedabad. Let us have a post-mortem here and let it go to the respective families. That decision of the collector was overruled by Chief Minister. One. The second is It was the duty of the Narendra Modi to protect car sevaks. आप पहले राम के सेवकों को जलने देते हो या जलाते हो, बाद में रहीम के बंदों को मरवाते हो. Wasn't it duty of the chief minister to protect the car sevaks? We were in power. Congress government was here, and in 1992 maximum car sevaks went from Gujarat. एक को खरोच नहीं आने दी थी पीयूष गोयल जी. That is administration. So why don't you accept that? राम के नाम पे वोट लेने के बाद राम सेवक को जलने दिया आपके शासन में. Who is responsible for that? आपको राम के नाम पे राजनीति करनी है. राम सेवक मरे. Who is responsible?
One moment. Piyush,
why didn't you protect them? Why proper protection was not provided?
Shakti Singh ji, just one moment. You made your point. Let Piyush reply before I go to my other panelists who've been waiting very patiently. Piyush, go ahead.
आई थिंक बड़ी दुर्भाग्य की बात है अगर ये इस प्रकार का आरोप लगा रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमारी सरकार, माय गवर्नमेंट, शक्ति सिंह जी, took all precautions to maintain peace and harmony. I suspect that the way you are talking, whether there was something, some alleged conspiracy behind what happened to those car sevaks.
Yes.
And certainly, yes, we did not sit and wait for thousands of Sikhs to be murdered under the watch of your government in Delhi without calling the army out for 4 days and making
Rajiv Gandhi was on the rolls. And Modi had not visited any affected area.
I can only tell you,
Rajiv Gandhi was on
my
road.
government took
His
action.
mother's dead body was lying, and Rajiv Gandhi was
my
on the
government
road.
took action
For the
against
harmony,
all the wrongdoing.
for the peace.
Your government has not even taken action against
All right.
the people
Piyush,
who perpetrated.
Piyush,
My government, my prime minister was on the road.
Okay, look, both of you are
To
talking
have
at the
a
top of your
harmony.
voices. Let me go across to my other panelists before I come back to you. Javed Anand, if you look at the SIT report and some of its criticism, and some of that criticism has actually come from Raju Ramchandran's report, the amicus curiae in this particular case, appointed by the Supreme Court, it basically seems to indicate the role of Sanjeev Bhatt, the senior police officer, and it also boils down to this meeting which took place on the 27th of February 2002. Now, today's judgment seems to have backed the version of the SIT, whereas Raju Ramchandran in his report clearly says that the version or the account of Sanjeev Bhatt on what really transpired in that meeting is all important and needs to be considered irrespective of what other concerns they may exist on this officer.
Vishnu, to begin with, I'm sorry, I'm committed to another channel, so I have to go in a few minutes. So may I request you to give me a few minutes, please, so I can have my say. Before I come to the Sanjeev Bhatt, this thing, except for the fact that we are discussing some very serious issues, what Mr. Piyush Goyal says is quite amusing. He begins by talking about Satyamev Jayate and then proceeds to dish out a series of lies. He's talking about, for example, curfew being imposed immediately. I challenge him to establish that the curfew was imposed before 1 o'clock on February 28 in Ahmedabad city, the city in which on 28th February over 200 people were massacred. Point number one. Point number two is he's read only the SIT report. I have also read the protest petition. And the protest petition has got, basing itself on evidence collected by SIT itself, has a huge amount of damaging evidence, which I unfortunately do not have the time to go through just now. And therefore I will not go into it. To quickly come to the Sanjeev Bhatt issue, the amicus curiae has opined, and many other lawyers and people from the legal fraternity have since said that if there is prima facie evidence, it is not for the police to establish whether it is absolutely true or not. The evidentiary value of a prima facie statement or has to be established through the trial process in a court of law. Now, quite disappointingly, the magistrate today has kind of come to the same conclusion as SIT, but this is only step one of the justice process as far as Zakia Jafri petition is concerned, and this petition incidentally has been there before. Zakia Jafri first wanted to file a complaint in June 2006, starting from Meghani.
No, but Mr. Anand, you're going into a larger issue. I value that.
Sorry,
Mr. Anand, tell me one thing. Is it your central argument,
Yeah.
Piyush, I'll come to you next. Mr. Anand, is it your central argument that the SIT was flawed in its constitution, flawed in its investigations, and was under pressure to deliver something which was against the interests of justice?
I would certainly say, and we've said this before, that the SIT has done a cover-up job rather than doing a proper investigation. And
well, that's a slap on the face of the Supreme Court then. I think that's an allegation that's being made by
Supreme Court has appointed
which appointed
please do not please do not put words in my mouth.
Anybody who does not give a favorable verdict is wrong.
I just told you that there was no favorable verdict Zakia Jafri case in the Sessions Court and the High Court. She had to go to the Supreme Court. It was the Supreme Court 2 years later that directed the appointment of SIT. It is the Supreme Court that ensured investigation was taking place. It did take place when the Gujarat government and police refused to even lodge an FIR. So we have very high regards for the Supreme Court. So please do not put words in my mouth. And this matter will proceed from today to the higher judiciary within Gujarat itself and ultimately, if need be, to the Supreme Court.
Zafar Sareshwala,
but to begin with, please do not tell lies about curfew when it was imposed.
Vishnu,
very briefly, Piyush, I just want to go across to Mr. Sareshwala. Yes, Piyush.
Okay, but I just wanted to correct your perception. You tried to imply in earlier part of the debate that the Raju Ramchandran report had said that Sanjeev Bhatt was present in that meeting and his testimony should be taken. I think you need to correct your version on that. What the Raju Ramchandran report says, I am conscious of the fact that though Shri Bhatt has been contending that he will speak only if under a legal obligation, and that also his version contradicts with the other police officers. Further, he says that after 9 years suddenly Sanjeev Bhatt has come out.
So let me therefore read out another part of that same SIT.
Don't read conveniently,
However,
read the report, it is very clear.
For the competent court.
I think you are reading some note, and note I don't know what you are having in your hand.
Let me read out what the amicus
must be the wrong note in your hand given by Modi.
Has to say all the wrong exactly facts. On the point of Sanjeev Bhatt, and then it says, in my opinion, point number 23, in my opinion, despite the aforesaid background, it does not appear very likely that a serving police officer would make such a serious allegation against Shri Modi, the Chief Minister of the state, without some basis. There is no documentary material of any nature whatsoever which can establish that Shri Bhatt was not present in the meeting on 27/2/2002. In the absence of the minutes of the meeting, there is again no documentary material available as to the participants in the meeting and what transpired at the said meeting. So he's saying both things. Therefore, it is the word of Shri Bhatt against the word of other officers senior to him. And therefore he says, please record his statement for what it's worth. Let there be an investigation.
Now I have two informations to give you.
Yes.
First of all, the call records of Sanjeev Bhatt have established that he was in Ahmedabad when the meeting took place. Point two, it was a meeting of DG police and senior officers. I don't see any reason an SP of police was allowed to be present when all the senior officers were meeting with the CM, to which Sanjeev Bhatt said that, oh, I was with the DG of police and he asked me to come along into the meeting. I mean, he's making all false allegations. It's been proven by call records that he was not in Gandhinagar at that point of time.
Javed Anand, would you like to come in on the role of Sanjeev Bhatt? And now what Piyush is saying that he wasn't present in Gandhinagar for that meeting on the 27th of February. Yes.
Mr. Goyal is simply cooking up facts, giving his interpretation. He has right to his interpretation, but he should not meddle around with facts. Raju Ramachandra clearly said there is prosecutable evidence, and he said whether what Sanjeev Bhatt said is true or not, irrespective of how good or bad man he is, has to be established during the trial. During the trial, not at the level of framing the charge sheet itself. That is what Raju Ramachandran said.
Well, I would like you to read out which section of the report said this.
No, but he's...
That there is prosecutable evidence.
Please read
out
Raju Ramachandran's report. I'm sorry, Vishnu, I need to leave. Please read Raju Ramachandran's report. Vishnu has just read it out to you. You can read it for yourself.
Okay, one moment.
Vishnu,
all right, okay, fair enough. Let me just go across to Zafar Sareshwala. I mean, a lot of people say that this has gone on one way or the other for such a long time. that the larger goal of Narendra Modi, the larger issue of leadership in this country, the larger issue of elections coming up in a few months, and the larger issue of how it's time to actually move on has been addressed by the court today? Because the court has said this is its verdict, and in a sense, let's all move on. Is there an effort to still deny Mr. Modi that?
Yeah, you know, let me make some more points on that. You know, Supreme Court had appointed a team, SIT. Now, SIT was interested about 8 or 9 cases. Almost all of them have come to a closure. 1 or 2 are just left. Now, the same SIT, with the same set of officers, they were reporting to Supreme Court. In the 7 cases, they made a judgment, they did the trial and people were convicted. So we accept that. But the same SIT, when it exonerates Modi, right or wrong, we don't accept. So this is a very, you know, either you accept that or reject that. You can't have both. That is one point. And second, what Mrs. Zakia Jafri and the petitioners, they did not accept this SIT report, and of course they have got the right to reject that. They went to the court. Yes. And now today the court has made a judgment that what SIT has given kind of a clean sheet or whatever is correct. So I think with this, rather than getting back again on what SIT says and what is there in the Ramchandran report, I think we need to move. And most important point for me here is that after 2002, post 2002, Gujarat has been riot free, which we had not seen earlier for decades. So I think in that aspect that Gujarat has been riot free, it has been, people have moved, people have progressed. You may have some, you know, discussion on that. Maybe some say no, right? But things have improved. So I think now we need to take a step further and let's fight election based on real issues rather than harping on what had happened in 2002. So my point is that we bring the real issues, the issues of employment, the issues of education, the issues of health, the issues of corruption. These are the real issues, and based on that, let's fight the election, the respective political parties.
Mr. Goyal, a lot of people would say that right now the Congress is in the midst of the politics of negativity, that you continue to drag on an issue despite what the courts are saying, that you aren't, and then of course you have a commission which curiously lands up today on a day in which things have gone well for Narendra Modi. You've got a commission which lands up. So I'm not saying that the timing was timed with the court order. I don't think that could have happened, but it just seems a bit strange that these are politics of negativity.
Well,
I want to add one second.
They have lost the people's mandate.
Okay, one sec, Piyush, I'll come to you next.
I'm sorry, because both are named.
Yeah, I know. One sec, I wanted to ask that question to Shakti Singh Goyal. After that, I'll come.
So please give the right name.
And then I'll come to you. Yeah. Shakti Singh ji, go ahead.
Yeah, let me tell you 2 things. One is, if you look at the Gujarat election closely, from 2002 to the last election, during elections, Modi never spoke about his development work and he never asked vote on the name of development in Gujarat. He always did division in the society on the name of Hindu and Musliman. He asked for the vote. Sometimes he had said, Sohrabuddin ko maar diya to maine sahi kiya ya galat kiya. In the last election he has said, Pakistan ko sar creek de denge. Ye Pakistan se mili central government hai. So dividing society, he is doing politics for the votes. The reality is that unemployment in Gujarat is highest. Modi goes to Punjab and says, मेरे वहाँ सरप्लस बिजली है.
No, but Shakti Singh, let's not let this is a larger debate. This is a larger debate. I'm sure Piyush has got lots of statistics also. We'll do the development versus reality debate later. I'm asking you about the politics of negativity. But Zafar Sahab, you had a point to make.
Yes, we speak about our development work, but a crime is committed.
Whole narrative has happened vis-a-vis Sanjeev Bhatt or the Vanjaras of the world or GL Singhals of the world. It is my enemy, enemy's enemy's friend. So anybody who takes cudgels against Modi, you have to make him a hero. Now whoever he may be. So this whole debate now is going in that direction, that anybody who takes cudgels against Modi, we have to back him. So I think this whole negativity has to be removed. Let's talk on positive, and yes, what Mr. Goyal is saying, you should challenge on the facts, and let's fight the election based on those things, rather than, because this whole debate of secularism and communalism is gone much beyond. I mean, we have reached much ahead of it, and also Mr. Modi has moved much ahead of 2002. So let's make a base on what's happening on the ground in Gujarat. People may have some disagreement on that, but that has to be the base and the fundamental, what has happened post 2002.
Shakti Singh ji, I just want to briefly ask you, because we don't have very much time, and I want to get back to the issue about the riots, but as far as the inquiry which has been ordered by the centre today, they believe that since it is something which is beyond one state, they need to have ordered it by the centre, whereas the BJP says this challenges the order of federalism in this country. The Gujarat government has already got an inquiry of its own happening. Why was there a need to do this?
We have a very good constitution and very good law. Let me tell you that as per the Commission of Inquiries Act, Section 3, it's a very clear that who can have a Commission of Inquiries. Here, in the Schedule 7 of the Constitution, it is very clearly mentioned in List 1, List 2 and List 3. List 2 and List 3, the subjects, central and state both can put a commission. But if the item is List 1, then state has no powers. Telephone, telegraph, post, wireless, that is entry 31 in List 1 of Schedule 7, and that is why state has no powers.
You are throwing the book at the BJP, and I'm sure Piyush, who knows the law quite well, would appreciate that. But is this really something that
I'm challenging you? I'm challenging you. Sorry?
Could this not have been done by an inquiry in Gujarat itself? Is this that big an issue that it needed to have been done by the centre?
State cannot have a commission in telephone tapping as per the law, Section 3 of the Commission of Inquiries Act, Schedule 7, Article List 1, Entry 31 is clear. It's a prerogative of the central, and central has very rightly put this commission.
I don't think there's anything you can disagree with Shakti Singh ji. He's quoted the manual verse by verse.
Shakti Singh ji doesn't know when there is any commission of inquiry. For example, the Indian Penal Code deals with corruption. Now, when other scam had to have a commission of inquiry, it was the state government that did it. But corruption or Indian Penal Code is a central subject. Should it have been a central government?
Not a central subject. I am saying Schedule 7. Read Schedule 7. List 1. List 1 is a central subject, and the corruption is in a concurrent subject, so central and state both can put. Here only central has the powers. I am challenging you on this channel. I will come with the constitution with all the details. You come with the record, or you go with the court. Court will certainly say here is the power.
So when he finishes repeating it, then you tell me to speak.
Vishnu, I have a small point on this.
I'm telling
very small.
You are talking about
is it a life and death issue? This SNOOPGATE.
About the corruption.
What is the country
in List 2
got to do with it? Is it some issue which is life and death for us? And the most important part, the players involved, the lady and the family, have they complained? I mean, why on earth central government has so much importance for such an inquiry? We've got so many other things in this country to do.
Shakti Singh ji, I'll come to you in 1 minute.
I mean, is this such a important thing that there should be some inquiry commission for it? Don't we have so many other things in the country to do?
Okay, fair point. Shakti Singh ji, last comment, and then Piyush, your last comment. Shakti Singh ji,
you haven't allowed me to make my point.
I'll let you make your point. I'll let you make your point. Let Shakti Singh ji make his point.
I want to know.
Piyush, one moment, my friend. Let me go across to Shakti Singh ji first. Go ahead, Shakti Singh ji.
Just one thing that Mr. Sareshwala has said, that this is not very important thing. Arun Jaitley's phone was not tapped. Snooping was not done. Only call detailed reports. CDR came out. 3 days BJP didn't allow parliament to function. They said it's a fundamental right, secrecy of a person, and for them it was the biggest issue. Here snooping was not only of a woman. her entire family, IAS officer, and criminal jurisprudence base says that sometimes the person who committed crime may be very powerful, and then the person who is sufferer may not come forward to file a complaint, but it is the duty of the state to deliver a justice. Whether the sufferer is coming out or not, that is not important. Here crime is committed. And one more thing Mr. Goyal was telling about the corruption things and that. My dear, kindly read list 1, list 2 and list 3. The corruption or IPC is in list 2. State and central both can put commission, but the telephone tapping, wireless, post and telegraph is in list 1. No state government has a power to put a commission on the item which are in list 1 of schedule 7 of constitution. That is as per the commission of
fair enough. Piyush, you made your point. Shakti Singh ji, you made your point quite comprehensively. Piyush, last comments, we need to close this debate. Go ahead.
Yeah, just 2 or 3 brief points. First of all, there is a commission of inquiry already in Gujarat which is investigating the matter. We don't know whether it is coming under his so-called lists or what. The commission will have to do its job and come out with its findings. Anyway, the track record of the Congress is that they do not respect any commission's independence. If the commission gives a favorable report for them, then it's a great commission. But like the SIT and like Adarsh, if the report is not favorable to them, then they protect their own chief ministers, their own home minister, who is today ordering a commission of inquiry in Delhi. But in Adarsh, when the report came, they have thrashed that report of the commission of inquiry. The track record of the Congress demonstrates they have lost the mandate of the people.
Well now Piyush, you're getting ahead of yourself right now. Piyush, you're getting ahead of ourselves right now. I'm sure we can debate that larger point certainly 100 times going up to the general elections. I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us this evening.